Hey everyone, my name's Copes100 and I've been away for almost 4 months. I guess I should explain. So I guess I should just start off by giving some backstory before I get to the real issue. So back in 2015, we, me and my mom and my dad, well, my mom and my dad won custody over my cousins who were living in Kentucky, and my mom's side of the family just kind of hates us. They were raised to lie and cheat and basically just be terrible human beings. So obviously they didn't take too kindly to this. Um, my aunt on my mom's side uh, tried accusing my dad of rape because she got drunk, took my dad's glasses off, and wanted to sit on his face in front of my mom. And so that didn't work. The judge shut her down, basically said that this is complete bull, and then she managed to get my sister to say that basically the same thing. So full year went from 2014 to 2015, and my cousins were taken away back to Kentucky, and um, my oldest cousin's friends started hanging around. Um, One of them being Paige. She was there mainly for me because I took the whole thing really hard. And the other one, Lauren, she was just kind of there. She was basically, the add-on person to a group. And so time just kind of went by a little bit, and fast forward from February of 2015 to August of 2015, and Lauren had some mental issues. She would cut herself, and she just had psychological and sociological issues, and eventually she started stalking us. Me and my parents went to church one night, and Carrie, Paige's mom, called us and said that Lauren was trying to basically peek through and look through our windows, walking around the house. And so we had to send her counselor over to her house because she refused to stay at her house. I'm sorry, we had to send counselor to our house because she refused to stay at her house. And eventually she got so attached to my dad that she started calling him dad and basically threatened to kill herself if he kept pushing her away. So one day, as I'm walking home from school, she follows me home and follows me home from school, and she started banging on the door, telling me that if I didn't let her in, she would burn the house down with me inside. And I messaged my dad about it, and he called the cops on her. The cops came to our house, asked me the standard questions. Asked where she was at. I told him where, and eventually she called the cops on my dad and said that he raped her, since she was just a minor, being 14. Um, um, he got arrested and spent 12 days in jail. And so, for the past 4 years, whenever my parents went to court, um, Lauren and her mom and their lawyer would basically just keep pushing it off, saying that they needed more time to gather evidence. And so, finally, we went to trial uh, February 4th, 5th, and 6th of this year, 2019. And my dad was arrested and put in jail because uh, the judge felt that he was guilty. And so, for the last 8 months, he was sitting in the correctional facility in the county jail. And so, um, just a couple weeks ago, we went to the sentence hearing, and during trial, my sister had filed charges of rape against my dad, and my aunt, my mom's side, filed charges, and so did my oldest cousin, Darian. So my dad was potentially facing 112 years or a life sentence. And so our lawyer uh, pretty much just gave up and railroaded my dad into taking the plea bargain of 16 years. And so the judge wanted to throw away the plea bargain and give him life. Um, but he kept the plea bargain, but felt that my dad was entirely guilty. There was no real evidence. I know there's no evidence. The only evidence that they have is Lauren creating an account as my dad on Tumblr and started messaging back and forth with herself. And apparently, according to her statement, my dad bought her a phone. And for some reason, the judge felt that my dad was going to meet up with her and kill her. We have the original statements of how my sister actually felt, and that she was lying, and that her husband and my aunt just kind of forced her into doing this. But for some reason, she keeps picking the ball back up and trying to go with what they kept telling her to do. So here I am talking to you guys, going to see a counselor because I don't know what to do other than just hope that my dad gets out sooner. Now, the reason why our lawyer railroaded my dad is because he wanted an extra $7,500 for my sister's side for trial, And since he knew that we couldn't come up, that me and my mom could come up with that money, since the only income is just my small paychecks and whatever my mom has left over after bills. So since he knew that we couldn't come up with the money, he pretty much just stopped trying and gave up. He didn't even really present the original statements, saying, basically showing that they were wrong and that my dad didn't do anything. So my dad is sitting in prison right now for anywhere from 8 to 16 years, an innocent man. Um, I've just been very depressed, and I get very anxious whenever I bring up this topic. So the fact that I'm even sharing this shows that there's not really any point in keeping it secret anymore. And I have recorded some stuff in the past, but I just haven't felt like editing or recording. I mean, not editing and uploading them, because I just haven't felt like it. There are some days where I just lose the will to live and I want to commit. And it's kind of scary, because what if one day I actually end up doing it? It's something that I don't really like to think about, but it is something that could eventually happen, and I want to get this out there in case that ever does happen in the future. I don't know when I'm gonna do anything right now, but whenever I do manage to get back into the feel of things, I will try and do some stuff. But until then, I'm going to just stay away uh, for a little bit longer and just try to regain myself, because quite frankly I don't think anyone really likes to see this side of me where I'm just depressed and I just want to break everything that's around me. I'm just gonna try to cut this short so that way I don't, end up crying on camera, because I know I'm gonna cry, but I don't want to do it now. Um, my sister has been harassing me and my mom through emails, basically saying, well, it's most likely not my sister, it's probably her husband, because he barely lets her contact anyone. And the emails were basically just, wow, you married a child molester and a sex offender. You really know how to pick 'em, huh, Priscilla? And some of the other ones are just, it makes me smile every day knowing that my life is better than yours, and knowing you're going to lose your house and you're going to go to jail where you rightfully belong makes me happy. And we haven't gotten anything else. But my mom said that if more stuff happens, she is going to tell Van Leer, and we might end up having a whole thing just on harassment. Um, I messaged my sister through Facebook, basically just saying how I felt, and she said something that pissed me off a lot and made me just reinforce my anger. And her response was basically just, um, I'm happy where I'm at right now. Uh, you and mom need to uh, see the light and realize that he has done these things. I know my dad is innocent because he's a family man. He's always been there for me. He's always been there for my sister. He even tried helping Lauren overcome her mental issues. He was very active in our church, and he was one of the youth group leaders for the middle school. And my dad doesn't really have any real motives like a normal sex offender or child molester would. My father is a great man, and I just hope that he can come back and be the same as he was before he left. Um, if any of you have managed to sit through this very depressing moment in this very depressing video, I just want to congratulate you and thank you for just putting up with my shit. I know that no one really wants to hear this right now, but I figured I should get this out there and just explain myself. And thanks for being here for these last 3 years.